Good morning, Cullman. Thank you for tuning in to Cullman Today. I'm your host, Cheyenne Sharp, and today is Thursday, September 19th. We have a lot to look at in local news today, including information on the recent FCCLA beef cook-off, the Cullman Tribune's Pet of the Week, and a quick thinker with Cullman City Communications. All this plus sports, weather, and more. But for now, let's dive into the top stories happening in Cullman today. On September 17th, various Cullman County and Cullman City students met at the Alabama Farm Credit headquarters in Cullman for the FCCLA All-County Beef Cook-Off. The Cattle Women's Association and Alabama Farm Credit sponsored the event. Adeline Bowers from West Point placed first, Evan Fales from Fairview placed second, Nathan Butler from Cata placed third, Katie Holmes from Vinemont placed fourth, and Mary Ellen Self from Good Hope placed fifth. Adeline Bowers will compete in April at the State Beef Cook-Off. The FCCLA sponsors and schools that participated were Miss Stephanie Blair from Cold Springs High School, Miss Amy Veal from Cullman Area Technology Academy, Miss Karen Raines from Cullman High School, Miss Whitney Haynes from Fairview High School, Miss Amanda Williams from Good Hope High School, Miss Amy Chambers from Hanceville High School, Miss Renee Lee from West Point High School, and Miss Madison Sept from Vinemont High School. Next up, United Way of Cullman County is getting ready for its new ribbon cutting at its new home on Austin Avenue by volunteering a small bit of locals' time. The local resources could use assistance organizing the office and moving a few pieces of furniture, and if you prefer outdoor work, there's also an opportunity to help with landscaping and refreshing the flower beds ahead of the ribbon cutting. Volunteer dates will be Friday the 20th and Monday the 23rd, and all volunteers will receive a free volunteer t-shirt. Please email mdingler@uwaycc.org or send a message on Facebook if interested. To finish out our top stories, the Cullman City Communications Department, along with us at Cullman Today, want to give a huge shout out to Lindsay for her incredible quick thinking and composure during a recent emergency call. Lindsay's swift recognition that CPR was needed and her calm, clear instructions made all the difference. Your dedication and skill are truly vital in these critical moments. CFD paramedic Duncan said she remained on the phone and continued to talk the caller through it until I let her know that we were at the patient's side. If it wasn't for the dispatcher and her quickly getting good, continuous, early CPR, this would have ended differently. Thank you for your dedication, Lindsay. Now that we have the top stories out of the way, we're going to take a quick break before returning with sports. Hello and welcome back. Now it's time to find out what's going on in the world of sports. In today's sports segment, let's take a look at this week's high school football matchup set for Friday night at 7 p.m. After a dramatic win at Jasper last week, the Cullman Bearcats will be back on the road Friday for another region game at Muscle Shoals. The Trojans are riding a 3-game win streak into their matchup with the Bearcats, so Cullman will need another great performance to return home with a win. Fairview is coming off of a 28-6 win at Ardmore, and the Aggies will be back on the road this week to take on Lawrence County. The Red Devils are coming off a win as well, so this matchup could have big implications in the region standings. Good Hope improved to a 3-0 win at Haleyville last week, and the Raiders will be looking for a win number 4 when they travel to Cordova on Friday. The Blue Devils are coming off their first win of the season, so Good Hope will need another strong showing to remain unbeaten. Hanceville is coming off of its first win of the season too, and they'll be back home at Ray Talley Stadium Friday night to host Oakman. 5 new members of the Bulldog Wall Hall of Fame will be inducted before this game as well. The year's class includes Keith Burns, Phil Callahan, Mike Johnson, Rod Elliott, and Mark Putman. The Vinemont Eagles are finally returning home after a 3-game stretch on the road, and they'll be hosting another region game with Carbon Hill. The Eagles are off to a great start this year, with their only loss coming in 4 overtimes at Phil Campbell. If they can maintain their momentum, they'll have a great chance to be 4-1 midway through the season. The Holly Pond Broncos are coming off a homecoming win over Brindley Mountain, but they'll be hitting the road for a tougher test Friday night. The Broncos will head to Geraldine for a big region matchup, and they'll need one of their best performances of the season to return home with a win. Cold Springs will have a tough test this week as well. After hammering Cleveland on the road last week, the Eagles will host Winston County on Friday night. The Yellow Jackets have allowed just 27 points in 4 games this season, so Cold Springs will need a great performance to knock them off. Addison will return home to host a big region battle with playoff implications against Hackleburg on Friday night, and after winning at Phillips last week, the Meek Tigers will be back on the road to face Waterloo this week. That covers sports for today, but make sure to check with the Cullman Tribune each day for the latest in sports coverage from across the area. We'll be back after this message. Hello and welcome back to Cullman Today. Now it's time to speed things up with a news rundown. 4 stories in under 4 minutes. The Cullman County Commission, at its monthly meeting on Tuesday, proclaimed that October will be recognized as Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month in Cullman County. To receive the proclamation was local Domestic Violence Support Center, Victim Services of Cullman. Victim Services supports and helps victims of domestic violence in Cullman County and the surrounding areas with shelter, legal support, and other necessities. Last October, the students at Cullman City Primary School were greeted daily with the school's own set of Cullman's Hay People. The school would like to see the return of the Grassy couple and is seeking donations of large hay bales to make the feat possible. If you know someone who would love to donate some bales of hay to the school, please message Cullman City Primary School PTO on Facebook. Cullman Parks, Recreation and Sports Tourism is hoping to find local individuals looking for an exciting way to be part of the fun at Cullman's Oktoberfest. Enjoy the lively atmosphere, meet new people, and help serve up good times by joining the CPRST wait staff of the Hofbrauhaus Bear Garden. Interested individuals must be 21 years or older to apply. For more information and to apply, visit CullmanOktoberFestival.com. A pure masterpiece, meet the one and only Picasso. Picasso is a year-old Catahoula leopard dog seeking out the perfect person or people to be his family. The majestic, lovable pooch is a low-energy companion. He is an unassuming fellow who enjoys everyone and every creature he's ever been exposed to. He does well with children and cats. Picasso relies on your encouraging words during his adventures out with you. He's a true thinker as he does not approach a situation in haste. Picasso epitomizes as the perfect companion, whether it's hiking or relaxing on the couch. Don't miss out on this masterpiece, Picasso, who is ready to come home. And don't worry, if you arrive at the Cullman County Animal Shelter and Picasso's been adopted, there are many of his friends just waiting for their forever home too. Now for a quick break before we look at the weather ahead and pay our respects with obituaries. I'll be right back after this message.
What's in the magazine? October's peeking in. Oktoberfest in Cullman, let the fun begin. Heroes in our town, business all around, recipes for sharing, joy everywhere found. Colonel Cullman cheers, history in our ears, community so bright, polka through the night. Sports spotlight today, kids come out to play. Fields and courts are buzzing in the autumn sway. Germans came to stay, crafts and brews on display. Cullman's heart is glowing in the polka way. Colonel Cullman cheers, history in our ears, community so bright, polka through the night.
Welcome back. Let's take a moment to pause and remember those who have lost their lives this week as we turn to obituaries. David Liddell Davis Jr. David Liddell Davis Jr., 63 of Cullman, passed away on Sunday, September 15th. Visitation for Mr. Davis will be held on Friday, September 20th from 5 to 8 p.m. at Moss Service Funeral Home. In addition, Mr. Davis will lie in state from 9 a.m. until the service time at 11 a.m. on Saturday, September 21st. Interment will follow at Etha Cemetery. Barbara Jester Laney. Barbara Jester Laney, 79 of Cullman, passed from this life on Tuesday, September 17th at Princeton Hospital. Funeral service for Mrs. Laney is Friday, September 20th at noon at Cullman Funeral Home Chapel. Visitation will be held from 10 a.m. to noon in the chapel. Interment will follow at Blair Cemetery. Grady Lloyd Evans Jr. Grady Lloyd Evans Jr., 62 of Cullman, passed away on Friday, September 6th at Cullman Regional Medical Center. Memorial services will be at Cullman Heritage Funeral Home on Saturday, September 22nd from 1 to 3 p.m. A celebration of life will be announced at a later time. Michael Pickle Joe Hitt. Michael Pickle Joe Hitt, 73 of Hanceville, passed away on Monday, September 16th. Funeral services for Mr. Hitt will be on Friday, September 20th at noon at Moss Service Funeral Home Chapel. Interment will follow services in Mount Tabor Cemetery in Bluentsville. Visitation will be on Friday, September 20th from 10 a.m. until service time at noon at Moss Service Funeral Home Chapel. Melissa Riopka Crow. Melissa Riopka Crow, 48 of Huntsville, passed away on Saturday, September 14th at UAB Hospital in Birmingham. Mrs. Crow's family will receive friends at Berry Hill Funeral Home on Thursday, September 19th from 2 to 4 p.m. A memorial service will immediately follow in the chapel at 4 p.m. That finishes up obituaries for today. Our thoughts and prayers go out to their friends and families. Now, let's take a look at today's weather forecast. Today, we'll see patchy fog before 9 a.m., otherwise sunny with a high near 85. Tonight, we'll also hold patchy fog, otherwise mostly clear with a low of around 63. Tomorrow morning sees patchy fog before 8 a.m., before moving to sunny with a high near 88. And tomorrow night will be mostly clear with a low of around 63. That concludes another edition of Cullman Today. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. I'm Cheyenne Sharp with Cullman Today, hoping your Thursday is terrific, Cullman.